Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor.
Oh, yeah. I love that book.
It's pretty amazing.
Hmm.
If you're looking for a boost in your journey to reach your full potential,
Hmm.
definitely check out affirmifiedjourney.com.
Okay.
They have personalized affirmations based on your zodiac sign.
Really?
Yeah, all sorts of motivational content, tap into your astrological energy.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So yeah, Bob Proctor, he's a legend
Oh, yeah.
in the self-help world,
Well,
known for his teachings on wealth and potential.
yeah. And he's been around forever. He was mentored by.
Oh, he goes way back.
Yeah.
What really stuck out to me was the foreword by Zig Ziglar,
Oh, yeah.
where he calls Proctor a master thinker
Hmm.
who systematizes life.
That's a really good way to put it. It's funny because he says that Proctor collects thoughts like Imelda Marcos used to collect shoes.
I love that.
But instead of a massive shoe closet, he builds this methodology for success.
Right. And that idea of systematizing life, it really comes through in the whole
Yeah.
book. It starts with this poem
Oh, yeah.
that sets the tone
Yeah.
and, reminding us that we're all unique individuals
Hmm.
with incredible potential.
Hmm.
It's like he's saying, look, you were born with everything
Everything you need.
you need to create this amazing life. Don't waste it.
Yeah, and he challenges us right from the beginning to be co-creators of our lives.
Oh, I love that.
And I think that's a big shift, for a lot of people.
Huge shift in perspective.
We're so used to thinking that things just happen to us
Exactly.
or that we're just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, we're passive passengers, Instead of being passive passengers,
Right.
Proctor's handing us the steering wheel. He's saying, you're in control. Where do you want to go?
I love that visual. That's great. And that leads right into the first tool he gives us, which is this concept of the image maker.
The image maker.
So he argues that everything we do actually starts as an image in our mind. Think about it. Even something as simple as a chair that we're sitting in.
Okay.
Someone had to first imagine that chair before they could build it right.
Right.
They had to visualize the shape and what it would be used for,
They had to see it.
and all of that in their mind before they could even begin to construct it.
That makes total sense, yeah.
Yeah.
But how does that apply to, say, personal goals?
Yeah.
We're trying to launch a new project, but I always get bogged down, like, in the details and the logistics.
Are you picturing yourself succeeding? Like when you think about this project, are you seeing it completed, thriving? Like, are you visualizing that?
I'm not sure that I am.
Because if your mind is full of images of obstacles and setbacks,
Okay.
that's the energy you're putting out there.
Right, so it's not just wishful thinking.
Right.
It's about consciously creating
Yes.
that mental blueprint
Exactly.
for what I want to achieve.
And remember, Lincoln said, "To believe in the things you can see and touch is no belief at all. But to believe in the unseen is a triumph and a blessing." I mean, that is the heart of what Proctor's talking about. It's believing in the unseen potential that we all have within us.
Yeah.
And the power of our minds to actually shape reality.
It's a powerful reminder.
Yeah.
Especially, when self-doubt creeps in. But, one thing that always kind of trips me up,
Yeah.
I get this concept of positive thinking,
Right.
but sometimes it feels like I'm just trying to force myself to be happy,
Yeah.
even when things are tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where the law of vibration comes in.
Okay.
He's not saying you should deny negative emotion.
Okay.
He's not saying you should pretend everything's perfect.
Right.
What he's saying is we need to become aware of our dominant vibration. Are we vibrating at a frequency of fear and scarcity, or are we vibrating at a frequency of love and abundance?
Oh.
That's the question.
How do I actually shift my vibration? It's not like flipping a switch, right?
It's more like choosing a different radio station. If you're tuned into a station that's playing like depressing music, you're not going to feel very uplifted.
Right.
But if you switch to a station that's playing upbeat music, your energy's going to shift. So your thoughts are the radio waves, and you get to choose what station you tune into.
So if I'm constantly focusing on what's wrong, I'm basically broadcasting
Yeah.
that signal of negativity,
Yeah, and you're going to attract more of the same.
which attracts more of the same. Okay.
Exactly. And Proctor actually uses a great analogy of a person trying to jump up while jumping off a building. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, you're fighting against yourself.
Yeah, it's like trying to force these good results while being in a negative vibration.
Right.
You're expending all this energy, but you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
how do I actually change the station?
Mhm.
What's the first step?
Awareness. Just become aware of what you're thinking. Are you dwelling on your limitations? Or are you focusing on the possibilities?
Okay.
Are you feeding your mind negativity, or are you nourishing it with positive affirmations and, inspiring content?
So it's about being mindful
Yes.
of the mental diet that I'm feeding myself.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And that's where Proctor's focus on financial abundance really ties in
Oh, yeah.
to this idea of mindset.
Okay.
So in chapter 2, he encourages people to actually determine how much is enough for them. And it's not about just blindly chasing money.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing what level of financial abundance do you want in your life that aligns with your values and goals.
I remember that section.
Yeah.
He emphasizes creating a vision
Yeah.
for your financial future, getting clear on what you want.
And he also gives practical advice like emphasizing life insurance.
Right.
As a tool for financial security. And that comes from his background in the insurance industry.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He saw firsthand how important it is to have a safety net, especially when it comes to taking care of your loved ones.
And that's where he introduces the concept of creating an instant estate, right?
Exactly. You're proactively building this legacy of financial security.
I love that.
And what's interesting is he connects this practical advice
Right.
with this deeper understanding of mindset and manifestation. So he's showing you how to align your outer world with your inner world.
Oh.
You create financial abundance by first cultivating an abundance mindset.
So it's not just about the numbers.
No.
It's about shifting your beliefs about money.
Absolutely. And then one of the most powerful principles he talks about is the Babylonian law of financial success.
Ooh, I've heard of this.
Right? It's this classic principle of wealth building, but Proctor really explains it
He breaks it down.
in a way that makes it click.
Remind me, what's the essence?
It's about paying yourself first,
Okay.
putting aside a portion of your income before you pay any of your other expenses.
Interesting.
So he recommends setting up what he calls a financial independence account,
Okay.
automatically depositing 10% of your income
Oh,
into this account.
10% right off the top.
Right.
I've heard of this concept before, but I've always struggled with implementing it. There's never enough money,
Well, that's where the shift in mindset comes in. You're prioritizing your financial well-being. You're not treating it as an afterthought.
Okay.
Instead of waiting to the end of the month to see what's left over, you're making this choice to invest in your future from the very start.
Yeah, it's like sending a message to the
Yeah.
universe that you're worthy of that abundance.
Exactly. And he also says that this is not about depriving yourself.
Okay.
This is not about austerity.
Got it.
This is about shifting your financial habits. It's about taking control of your money so that your money can work for you.
So it's about creating a system
Yes.
that supports my financial goals rather than feeling like I'm constantly chasing after money.
Exactly. And that leads us to the next strategy that he talks about, which is the debt clearance account.
Debt clearance account.
So he recommends 20% of your income
Okay.
going towards systematically paying off any outstanding debts that you have.
I mean, that sounds smart, but I know a lot of people who just feel overwhelmed by debt.
Yeah.
Where do they even begin?
Well, he provides this really great tool in the book.
Okay.
It's a sample letter.
Okay.
And you can adapt this letter
Okay.
to communicate with your creditors.
Okay.
It's about taking a really proactive approach
Okay.
to managing debt and regaining that financial control.
So he's giving you a step-by-step
Yeah.
guide to getting your financial house in order,
Exactly.
both internally and externally?
Right. So he's talking about the mental and emotional aspects of money, but he's also giving you these practical strategies for managing your finances effectively.
Okay.
And that's where we see the depth of Proctor's teachings, because he goes beyond just mechanics. He's going beyond just saying, okay, here's how you manage your money. He's talking about these underlying principles of abundance and prosperity.
Gotcha.
He actually talks about the need to conquer mental poverty
Oh, yeah.
before you can even achieve financial abundance.
That reminds me of the story he tells about the poor couple
Oh, yeah.
and the light bulb.
That's such a good analogy.
It's so good.
Imagine you've lived your entire life
Yeah.
with these dim, 8 candle power light bulbs.
Yeah.
And then someone introduces you to a 60 candle power bulb.
Wow.
Suddenly you're bathed in this flood of light, and you had no idea that the same current that powered those dim bulbs could actually produce something so much brighter.
It's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
It's such a good way to show how we limit ourselves without even realizing it.
Exactly.
Like we're surrounded by this infinite source of abundance,
Right.
but we're using these tiny light bulbs.
Yeah.
These limiting beliefs that prevent us from experiencing the full power.
And so his challenge to us is this. Are you willing to upgrade your bulb?
Good question.
Are you ready to replace those limiting beliefs with an awareness of your inherent worth
Wow.
and your capacity to create abundance?
I love that image of upgrading your bulb. It's like saying, don't settle for a dimly lit life.
You have the power to shine brightly.
Exactly.
And that's where we start to really delve into the heart of his teachings.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep going.
Me too. Proctor's work, it's all about understanding the power of our minds to shape our reality.
Okay.
And that leads us to these two laws
Yeah.
that everyone's talking about in the self-help world.
Right.
The law of vibration and the law of attraction.
Yeah, you know what? I have to admit, I used to be really skeptical about this stuff.
Yeah.
It always seemed kind of woo-woo to me.
Yeah, I get it.
But the way that Proctor explains it,
Yeah.
it actually makes sense.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. Yeah.
Because he takes these really complex ideas and he breaks them down
Yeah, it makes them practical.
into really understandable terms.
Okay.
So let's start with the law of vibration.
Okay.
Basically, everything in the universe is in a constant state of motion.
Okay.
It's vibrating at a certain frequency.
Yeah.
Even our thoughts have a vibration.
Okay, I'm following.
Okay.
But how does that tie into actually creating the life that we want?
Because like attracts like.
Okay.
So if you're vibrating at a frequency of fear and scarcity and negativity,
All right.
you're going to attract more of those things into your life.
It's like when you're in a bad mood, it seems like everything goes wrong.
Exactly.
But when you're feeling positive and optimistic, good things just seem to flow.
And that's why he says it's so important to be aware of our dominant vibration. Are we generally more positive or more negative? He actually talks about this difference between positive and negative personalities.
Yeah. Okay.
People who tend to vibrate at a higher frequency, focusing on the good.
Versus people who get stuck in a lower vibration, dwelling on the negative.
That reminds me of a time I was going through a really tough time.
Yeah.
I was so focused on what was going wrong that I totally missed out on some really amazing opportunities.
Oh, wow.
That were right there in front of me.
That is a perfect example of how our vibration can either open us up to abundance or block it.
That's wild. Okay. So Proctor is encouraging us to choose thoughts that align with the frequency of success and happiness and fulfillment.
Right, but how do you actually do that?
Yeah, that's my question. How do you shift your vibration?
Right.
I mean, it's easy to say, think positive.
Yeah.
But what if you're dealing with real challenges?
Proctor wouldn't say to deny those challenges. What he would say is, okay, how can I approach this from a more positive and empowered place? It's not about pretending that everything's perfect. It's about choosing to focus on solutions rather than the problems.
Okay, so it's a subtle shift, but an important one. It's shifting my perspective, not necessarily denying reality.
Right. And that's where the law of attraction comes in.
Okay.
So this law basically says that we attract what we focus on.
Okay.
So if we're constantly dwelling on what we don't want, guess what? That's what we're going to manifest.
Okay.
But if we can shift our focus to what we do want, that's when we start to align our energy with those desires, and it makes it much more likely for those things to show up in our lives.
So it's not just about wishing and hoping.
Yeah.
It's about taking action.
Yes.
And consciously directing our thoughts and energy
Just
towards what we want to create.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
And he emphasizes that this isn't some magic formula.
Okay.
It's not just sit back and wait for your dreams to fall into your lap.
You got to do the work.
It's about taking what he calls inspired action. You're aligning your actions with your thoughts and beliefs.
So you're creating a synergy between your inner world and your outer world.
And that's where his teachings on risk-taking come in.
Oh, right.
He has a whole chapter called The Risk Takers. He says that stepping outside of our comfort zones and embracing calculated risks is essential for achieving greatness.
That chapter really challenged my own risk aversion.
Yeah.
He uses that great analogy of standing at the top of the high diving board, hesitant to jump.
Yeah.
But once you do, you feel this surge of exhilaration.
It's such a relatable example.
Well, it is.
Because we've all had those moments, right?
Yeah.
Where we've had to overcome fear to do something and achieve a goal.
Okay.
But Proctor argues that playing it safe can actually be detrimental.
Really? I always thought being cautious
Yeah.
would increase my chances of success.
But he points out that playing it too safe can keep you stuck.
Oh,
It prevents you from experiencing your full potential.
okay.
It can even make you more vulnerable in the long run.
That's so interesting.
He actually cites research on fighter pilots.
In
Yeah.
World War II. And they found that a lot of the pilots that were overly cautious
Yeah.
were actually among the first to get killed in combat.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. So it's not about being reckless.
Right.
It's about finding that balance.
Exactly. It's a balance between caution and courage.
Okay.
And he emphasizes that successful risk takers are usually knowledgeable. They've done their homework.
They've done the research.
They're not just blindly leaping into the unknown. They're assessing the situation. They're gathering information and then taking action with, a balance of confidence and also prudence.
It's like the difference between gambling and investing.
Ooh, that's good.
One is a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
The other one, you're making calculated, informed decisions.
That's a great analogy.
Based on research and strategy.
And I think that highlights the importance of preparation.
Okay.
Which is another key theme in the book.
Right.
He talks about, taking the time to hone our skills.
Right. Develop our knowledge so that we can be more effective.
It reminds me of that story he tells about writing every morning.
Oh, yeah. He would get up before everyone else.
Yeah.
And dedicate that quiet time to writing.
It's a great example of consistency.
Yeah.
Like, even when you don't feel like it,
right.
doing it every day, it can lead to extraordinary results.
Exactly. And he also talks about how success is a marathon.
Not a sprint.
It's not a sprint. You're not going to get there overnight.
Right.
It takes time.
Okay.
And that leads us perfectly into this concept he calls the razor's edge.
Oh, the razor's edge. I love this one.
Yeah, it's the idea that these tiny little differences can create massive outcomes over time. He actually uses the example of the 1976 Olympic 100-meter race, where the difference between first and last place was a fraction of a second.
A fraction of a second. It's mind-boggling.
Right. It's crazy to think about. Just that tiny sliver of time determines whether you're standing on the podium or you fade into obscurity.
And so that's why those small, consistent actions, they're so crucial.
It's like the compound interest of effort.
I love that.
Your daily habits, they compound over time. They generate this momentum that propels you forward.
Towards your goals, And he tells the story about those actors.
Oh, yeah.
And their stand-ins from the movie The Razor's Edge.
It's a great story. They looked almost identical.
Yeah.
They had similar talents, but the actors, they were the ones in the spotlight.
Right.
They were earning 75 times more money.
That's wild. What set them apart then?
They were the ones that had taken those extra steps.
Oh,
they
really?
honed their craft. They put themselves out there. They seized the opportunities that came their way.
So talent alone isn't enough.
Right.
It's combining that talent with the hard work, the persistence, the willingness to put yourself out there.
And that's where mindset comes back in. It's believing in yourself, trusting your abilities, and recognizing that you have the power to create the life you desire.
I love that.
And I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Okay, yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
In this first part of our deep dive into You Were Born Rich.
So much good stuff. I'm ready for part 2.
Me too.
This has been such an amazing journey.
Oh, yeah.
Exploring all these ideas.
Absolutely.
I feel like I've learned so much, so many new insights and practical tools for creating a more fulfilling life.
Me too.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from You Were Born Rich is that it's not just about money.
Right.
It's about this sense of abundance in every area of our lives.
Okay.
Our relationships, our health, our creativity, our spiritual connection.
It's about the whole picture.
It really is.
Yeah. It's about recognizing that real wealth comes from within.
Yes.
It's about tapping into that potential
Yeah.
and aligning ourselves with those laws of success.
And that's what makes this idea of co-creation so powerful.
Right.
We're not just passively hoping for good things to happen. We're actively involved
Yeah, we're participating
in the process. We're setting intentions, we're taking action, and we're trusting that the universe is working with us.
It's like we're co-writing the script of our lives.
I love that.
With the universe as our collaborator.
That's beautiful. I love that. And it also highlights how important it is to surrender to the flow of life. Sometimes things don't go the way we planned.
Right.
But there's this higher intelligence that's guiding us.
Towards our ultimate good.
Even when things are tough.
That is so reassuring, especially when we're faced with challenges.
Yeah.
Or setbacks.
Yeah. It's like knowing that even when the road gets bumpy, we're still headed in the right direction.
I love that. Okay.
And I think one of the most powerful ways to tap into that is through gratitude. Proctor talks about how gratitude can really shift our vibration.
Right, because it amplifies the positive.
Exactly. And it attracts more blessings.
That reminds me of that quote. What if you woke up today with only the things you were grateful for yesterday?
It makes you think, right?
It's a good reminder to appreciate the good things.
Yeah.
Even the little things.
And the more we practice gratitude, the more we realize how much abundance is already there.
Right. You start to see things differently.
Exactly.
So to sum up the essence of Proctor's message, what would you say are the key takeaways?
Recognize your own worth and your potential.
Okay.
Understand how powerful your mind is in shaping your reality.
Okay.
Take action.
Got it.
And then embrace that abundance the universe has to offer.
It's about shifting from that mindset of limitation to a mindset of possibility.
And one of the things I love about Proctor's work is that he doesn't just talk about these concepts in theory. He actually gives us real tools and strategies.
He makes it practical.
That we can use every day.
Right. Like he's giving us this roadmap for unlocking the riches within.
It's so powerful, and it really resonates, especially in a world that often tells us we're not enough.
Yeah, that we have to struggle.
And we have to struggle.
Yeah.
And he's saying, no, that's not true.
Right.
His message is all about hope and empowerment and unlimited possibility.
So before we wrap up this incredible deep dive into You Were Born Rich, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
What would be one thought-provoking question or challenge?
Okay.
Based on everything we talked about, that we could leave our listeners with?
I would say a good challenge would be to identify one limiting belief that you're holding on to that's preventing you from having more abundance in your life.
Okay.
And then ask yourself, what would happen if I let that go? What would be possible then?
I love that. It's an invitation to step into a new level of awareness, a new level of possibility, a new level of abundance.
And speaking of expanding our potential, I wanted to remind our listeners about lingopediamagazine.com.
Oh, yes.
They have these incredible ebooks and courses on personal development and wealth creation.
It's a treasure trove of information for anyone who wants to learn more and grow.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
So there you have it, our deep dive into Bob Proctor's You Were Born Rich. We hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. And remember, you are capable of creating a life beyond your wildest dreams. Embrace your potential. Cultivate that abundance mindset, and watch the universe support you. Be sure to subscribe, share, and like this podcast for more deep dives into the world of knowledge and inspiration.